A series' development and popularity mostly depend on how great the character's potential is. The backstory, development, future endeavors, and other factors surrounding the character are one of the main things that dictates how far a show can go. So for a potentially great character like Lee Dutton to be killed early on seems too much of a waste in a viewer's perspective. Most of the people who have watched the great series Yellowstone primarily agree that this Yellowstone character was killed off way too fast. So in this video, we will shed some light on the series regarding Lee's death, including some behind-the-scenes discussion with the actors and writers. And beware that there are spoilers ahead. Now, moving on with the video.
Everybody's got those dynamics and ebbs and flows in playing Lee. I think he really looks up to his father and wants to be him as much as possible.
Background story. For those who aren't familiar with the show, this is about the life of a Montana rancher named John Dutton, the family patriarch of the Dutton family who owns one of the biggest cattle ranches in the United States. As we all know, if a big enough land is being owned by a small family, there is bound to be other families, organizations, and even the government who will all be interested in it. Thus, John Dutton, along with his family, must protect their land, which is in constant conflict with those in its borders. An expanding town, a native Indian reservation, and America's first national park. The Dutton family is mainly comprised of John and his wife Evelyn, along with their 4 children, Lee, Casey, Jamie, and their sister Beth. Casey extended the family by marrying Monica Long, a resident of the Broken Rock Indian Reservation, and having a son named Tate. Evelyn was no longer with them due to an accident before, while Lee didn't last long either. Lee Dutton's death. The death of Lee Dutton was due to the feud between their family and the Broken Rock Indians, who aspire to retake what is theirs. One day, Lee and several other men set off to take back a number of cattle that was regarded as stolen. When John gave the signal from his helicopter, Lee took the men onto the reservation and tried to lead their cattle back onto the ranch. But there was someone on the other side trying his very best to keep the cattle from going back, who turned out to be Casey, Lee's brother. John also noticed him and called off the operation, ordering his men to retreat. Now, before Lee got a chance to ride off, he was hit by a bullet and fell off of his horse. The shot came from the gun of Robert Long, Casey's brother-in-law. Long came walking over and was about to pull the trigger again, but Casey was just in time to stop him from doing so. Long didn't give up and tried to shoot Casey, but Casey was just fast enough to save himself and kill Long. However, when Casey checked on his brother, the bullet that hit Lee turned out to be fatal and ultimately led to his death. After grieving for a few days, his body was buried at the family gravesite but was later cremated to avoid autopsy that could point to Casey as Long's killer. Now, a viewer's perspective. A huge missed opportunity is the usual response when you ask the fans about the death of Lee. It is no secret for fans that Lee was more of a plot device to kickstart Casey's arc rather than an important and layered character. However, many people to this day feel that Yellowstone could have explored his story further, especially since the other Duttons were showcased quite well.
He's also a man that recognizes his own limitations.
You're a 38-year-old bachelor living in your father's house, working 100-hour weeks for a nibble of his approval. Is that the dream, Lee?
It doesn't have to be so detailed or complex, as some fans say, but at the very least, the writers could have made the audience care enough about the character to make his death mean something more than just a Kickstarter. I get that his character was used as a plot device and it was supposed to jumpstart the show, but the fact that the poor dude is actually never mentioned after that, and his death didn't make his family seek any form of Godfather-like vendetta, makes me wonder what he did to die for anyway, Redditor Daisy Miller 8 stated. Now, there were a lot of missed angles and storylines that could have been explored, but it was disheartening to watch a supposedly important character get killed off almost immediately. But on the other side, some viewers argue that it was fine overall since it was made so as to not make the audience care about Lee in the first place. It was all for the sake of the development of the show, as they stated. To provide some peace of mind, Casey's storyline throughout the series has been exceptional. With his brother's death, he tried his best to fill the role that was left behind, which later developed his character. So at least Lee's death helped propel an important storyline. Moreover, the eldest Dutton sibling was still featured in other future episodes as a flashback or a vision that made some fans delighted. The production's perspective. As fans may be somewhat disappointed and sad to see as time comes so soon, Actor Dave Annabelle, who played Lee, told The Hollywood Reporter that he was okay with that. Annabelle actually wasn't even planning on auditioning for the role, as he had another upcoming project to work on. If it wasn't for the creator Taylor Sheridan encouraging the actor to do the audition, then he wouldn't have won that role in the first place. Now, leaving the series early on was accepted by the actor. Well, that was until he attended the cowboy camp to train for the role, in which he suddenly decided that he wanted to stay. He said, "I knew my character was going to die right away, and I was okay with that. But as we were shooting and practicing, and I was at cowboy camp and learning to ride horses, and we were in Montana, I thought, there is no way I want to die on this show." Now, despite his swift departure, 2 days in production to be exact, he was very thankful for the opportunity. "It was just one of the best life experiences that I've ever had, and to have that on such a high-level project was really special," he stated. Even though Lee died in the first episode, his legacy continues to live on in the series. Speculations and theories. Now, before the release of Season 4, a lot of fans started killing time by digging deeper into the Dutton family's past, present, and future. Along the way, some have picked up a major error surrounding the eldest son. Since the time of his death, we've seen glimmers of Lee here and there, mainly in flashback scenes with the other siblings, Casey, Jamie, and Beth. But recently, one eagle-eyed fan on Reddit realized that Lee was actually absent from a number of flashback scenes when his character was still very much alive. For example, it was pointed out that in several instances when they showed family photos in earlier seasons, Lee was nowhere to be found. Some fans have a far-fetched theory that Lee was the person behind the camera, while others have chalked it up to sloppy writing. Another fan pointed out that the photos shown appear to have some greater significance, which means there may be more to Lee's absence than meets the eye. Perhaps this is one of the show's best-kept secrets, and we'll learn more in the episodes to come. Maybe there is more to Lee's story. "It took 3 seasons for us to learn that Jamie wasn't John's son," a fan commented. And in conclusion, there has been no hint of Lee Dutton showing for future seasons of the series as a ghost or even as a memory. Even though a lot of the audience forget about the existence of the firstborn of John and Evelyn due to his quick departure, people are still thrilled to see even a glimpse of him from time to time, to the point of creating their own stories relating to him. One fan even commented on the actor's Instagram account that there might be a flashback to show that Lee actually has a son. As the creators, John Linson and Taylor Sheridan, still plan to release 2 more seasons for now, there are still a lot of possibilities and opportunities for the eldest son to contribute to the story once more. Maybe it's a flashback scene, a vision, or even a living legacy. Additionally, actor Dave Annabelle seems to be willing to relive the role as well, as shown in Season 4 and by his statements regarding his experience on the set. So let's just hope that there's still something left in the story where Lee Dutton's presence is still needed.